is John Colo with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and this is the episode that so many of you guys have been asking for. I could keep getting so many emails. I'm like, you know what? I'm just making a video so that I don't have to keep answering emails. Today what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and compare the original Omega NC800. This was originally released in 2013 and is still being sold today. I mean, imagine if they're still selling an iPhone from 2013 today. No way. But juicers, they don't really change a whole lot like iPhones do. And check it out. Here's the all-new Omega NC1000. Has a bigger number. Does that mean it's better? Well, it definitely costs more. And this is being billed as the Omega Premium Nutrition Center Juicer. This is their latest and greatest model that was just released in 2020, the year now. And so in this episode we're going to compare these two guys side by side and let you guys know my opinions, but also the physical features. We're going to go ahead and juice the same amount of produce items in each machine, see if one is more efficient than the other, and learn about these machines because, you know, working in the industry now for over 20 years, I kind of know what's going on behind the scenes, and many of you guys may not, and I have access to juicers that many of you guys may not until you purchase them. And you know, my mission and goal is to ensure you guys get the right juicer the first time. I don't care if it's the NC800 or if it's the NC1000, or actually I got those mixed up, or I don't care if it's the Omega VSJ, or I don't care if it's another brand of juicer. I just want you guys to become juicers for life, and the reason for this is because juicing has changed my life. It is part of the reason that I'm here today. It saved my life. Incorporating more fresh fruits and vegetable juices, especially those leafy green vegetables, allowed me to maximize my phytonutrient intake and micronutrient intake, something that in my personal opinion most Americans are deficient in. Most Americans get plenty of macronutrients, which are those high calorie foods, but they're lacking the micronutrients, those vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals. These are basically the plant compounds that the plant makes to protect itself from stress, bugs, and disease. And likewise, when we get these phytochemicals and micronutrients in us, according to scientific studies that I have seen, it can aid us in being healthy as well. And I think that's a big problem in America today. The next thing I want to mention is that if you guys enjoy my episodes, because you know, big box companies aren't making videos about this, even Omega's not making videos about this, and I asked Omega before I made this video, like, what's the difference? Right? And they didn't even have as many things that I figured out that are the differences in this, because I went through this literally piece by piece, weighing this piece, weighing that piece, comparing them and contrasting them, and I came up with more things than Omega told me that were the differences. And I'm going to share those with you guys so you guys exactly know all the differences between these two guys, including I'm going to do decibel meter testing to see which one is quieter, if any. And yeah, so then you'll know which one to buy. And here's the thing, right? With all the juicers, every juicer has their pros and cons. You know, as much as this is the new model, you know, there's definitely things I like about the new model. There's definitely things that I like about the old model. And in the end of this episode, I'll summarize for you guys, depending on your specific need, whether you want to go with the new one or the old one. And, you know, there are definitely lots of factors to consider. And if you guys appreciate and enjoy and have gained knowledge from my videos, I would encourage you guys to support me and my work by making your purchase at DiscountJuicers.com. You know, I go through a lot of trouble, efforts, to make these videos to educate the public about juicers, and I would appreciate if you guys actually bought your juicer from me instead of another store, right, or another place you can buy them, even from Omega themselves, right? If you buy it from me, this allows me to continue to produce these videos to educate people, and more importantly, support you guys after the sale. If you guys purchase your juicer from me, you're going to have me on your side to answer any technical questions about juicing. I've probably run more produce through my juicers, and many of them, I have about 20 of them, than anybody else that sells juicers. You know, this includes some of the staffs at the different juice companies, because I drink juice every day. As a matter of fact, today in my other Omega juicer that I like, the Omega VSJ 843, I made like a gallon of juice, like over a gallon of juice today in my Omega juicer. You know, and I drank, you know, about half a gallon today. And so, you know, this is a lifestyle I live. I could probably sell any widgets if I want to, but I'm committed in selling juicers, and I would encourage and appreciate if you guys supported me. Aside from my pre-educational videos that you guys are watching now, my after support, after you buy the juicer from me, you'll have direct access to me to ask me your juicing questions if you are getting stuck, if you're having problems. I'm here to support you, as well as I'm a very critical component to help you guys get warranty service, right? If you guys buy from anywhere else, I can't help you if you guys have a warranty issue. You got to contact the manufacturer directly. But if you guys buy from me, the first step is to contact the manufacturer, in this case Omega. They should take care of you. And if they're not taking care of you, then if you bought it from me, let me know. And I'll make sure they take care of you, right? And I do have to intervene, unfortunately, in many cases to get my customers service from Omega, because I've had reports from my customers that when they call Omega directly, they haven't gotten service. And that saddens me, because Omega should have high customer level service, and maybe because they're having phone issues or email issues, maybe because they're understaffed. I don't know the reasons, but I can promise you guys this. If you guys buy from me, if you have a warranty issue, I will make sure it gets resolved. Sometimes it takes longer than others, because sometimes they have some parts issues and they're out of stock, but I will make sure that you guys get your situation resolved. Finally, the other reason to purchase from me is I want to encourage you guys to purchase from me at the price that I'm charging on the website. We are called discount juicers, so I try to discount the juicers and have the lowest prices possible, but some cases there's retailers that sell for lower than me, and I will match any other authorized retailer's delivered price. That being said, I encourage you to support me at full price so I can continue my work and making these videos even better and putting out this valuable education for you guys, and hopefully you guys appreciate the work that I'm doing and will reward me for it, if I've earned it, right? And I work hard. I have over 500 episodes on this channel dedicated to comparing and contrasting all the different juicers, more than anybody else that I'm aware of on the planet. And I try to put out reviews as soon as I get the machines. I mean, I just got this machine. I've been packed down with all kinds of work, but now I'm making this video for you guys. So anyways, enough of that stuff. Let's go ahead and get into this comparison. So over on this side we have the Omega NC800. Actually, this one is honestly my favorite horizontal single auger juicer, and then the Omega VSJ843 is my favorite vertical juicer, and I personally prefer vertical juicers over the horizontal juicers. Does that mean that you guys should get a vertical because I like it? No, it doesn't. My needs may be different than your needs. If you're going to juice exactly what I juice, then it would behoove you to get a vertical, but if you're not juicing what I juice, then it may behoove you to get a horizontal juicer. In addition, depending on your lifestyle, if you like pre-cutting, like I really don't mind pre-cutting. Like pre-cutting produce in the morning is a meditation for me. And if you don't like pre-cutting things like celery and greens, then you're going to go on to get an NC800. If you don't want to have to worry about ordering certain things, putting things in, a little bit of time, letting the machine work and all this kind of stuff, you just want to put things in, push it in, then you want to get a horizontal, because a vertical juicer, you will have to, pre-cut things up, order them in the proper order, juice certain kind of recipes to ensure it works. And pretty much on these guys are no-brainer juicers. You basically got the produce, you put it in, you shove it in there, you push it in with the pusher, and it's done. And in the vertical, actually, I recommend you don't use the pusher that comes included with the juicer. So today, if you guys are looking for a horizontal, then you're going to want to watch this video. So why would you want to get a horizontal over the vertical? So if you want to not pre-cut your produce, and or if you're going to juice lots of leafy greens and things like celery and stem vegetables, right? This machine is way better at juicing fibrous materials than the verticals, where the fibers can get stuck, making their right angle turn out of the juicer. And so I juice some parsley stalks, like off the camera, actually, they're kind of big, and I literally put it through the NC1000 and turned it into a little fiber. And I'm not doing that in my vertical. It would have just choked, my vertical would have broke, and I would not be cutting the thick parsley stalks, because frankly it might have broke my knife, because those stalks were really thick, and it literally turned it into fiber and the juice. And I'll put a link down below. I did find out after that, actually, parsley is one of the highest oxalate containing vegetables out there. So that's another reason why. I mean, I share all my tips, and other companies and other people are not. I encourage you guys to rotate your juices. As much as parsley is a great food, and spinach is a great food, or purslane's a great food, or fat hen's a great food, or Swiss chard's a great food, or beet greens are a great food, these foods can be high in oxalates, and especially if you have kidney stones or are predispositioned to not deal with oxalates, and have other conditions, then I would not personally include those in my juices and or juice those very irregularly. Once I found out parsley was very high in oxalates, I'm not going to not juice parsley, but trust me, I'm not going to juice parsley probably about for the next week to give my body some time to kind of catch up, So I always encourage you guys, don't make the same recipe each and every day, And every day I usually have a totally different recipe based on what produce is in season, when I'm able to get organic, and likewise, all right? So, and the other thing is, the reason why you don't want to buy a horizontal, if you want to juice a lot of fruits or straight fruits. If you're doing fruits with roots or fruits with greens, the horizontal is going to work great. But if you want to juice like straight fruits, for the most part, you'd be better off buying the vertical juicer in that part. So then you got to trade off. The other thing, the reason why I like these machines, if you guys hate cleaning juicers, right, this is a juicer for you. The verticals take me 2 times as long to clean. These guys are the fastest juicers to clean in the West, or even the East, wherever you live, that I found. They take me 80 seconds, and I have a video timing it. I'll put a link down below to that video. I'll also put a link down below where I juice that really thick parsley stem, which is kind of like related to celery in the NC1000, in my initial NC1000 video that is also below. Alright, so this Omega NC800 came out in 2013. Wow, time flies when you're having fun, and it's still being produced today. There's been some small minor changes, but nothing ever major changed with it over all these years. And you know, it's just a proven winner. You know, I know you guys, some of you guys have that favorite screwdriver, or maybe your favorite pair of shoes, and when it wears out you want to get the exact same model again, because you know that just does the job and it does it well. And to me, that's how the NC800 is. I mean, it just does the job, it does it well, and I like it. And now the new one comes out, and now which is just released 2020, and I haven't had too much experience with it. I used it one time for the other video, and this is only going to be the second time I'm using it, so I'm going to share with you guys as I learn about this machine. So I mean, some of you guys want the time-proven model, and some of you guys want the newest, the latest, and greatest. The other thing I want to mention is that there is a price difference. You know, the NC1000, because it is a premium machine, it does cost more. And what makes it premium exactly? Well, I asked Omega, and they couldn't. All they said is it's our newest machine and it has a more powerful watt motor. And I discovered there's a few other things that kind of like make it a little bit better than the NC800 on paper. But that just because it's better on paper doesn't mean it's going to perform better in a real-world test that we're going to do at the end of this video. All right. So I guess with that. Both these machines are backed up by Omega, one of the oldest juicing companies in America. I think they've been in business for like 35 years now. And both these machines have a 15-year-long warranty. I mean, because this is a premium, I like to even see a longer warranty, but they have the same exact warranties on both these machines. I think the other thing that I would like to mention is that because this is a brand new machine, there is no threat of it being discontinued anytime soon, while the Omega NC800, it may be reaching its end of its life cycle since it was put out originally, you know, many years ago. They may be discontinuing this now. I don't know for sure what Omega is going to do, but you know, I know they have discontinued other older model juicers, you know, that are you know, actually newer than this one more recently, like some verticals. So this may be going the way of the West. But don't worry, if you should buy this when this is still being sold, it will be supported through its warranty end period of 15 years. So they will still stock parts or get you a machine to replace your current machine if they no longer have parts for this, or give you parts that will fit, and that'll be curious to see you know, more near the end of this video. So don't be concerned. But if that worries you, then of course you want to get the new model. You know, now I guess at first glance you guys could look at both these machines, and if you guys look at both these machines, you'll be like, I like this one better, or I like this one better. So this, I would say, has more of a classic look. I like to say classic look. You know, it's kind of like a little puppy, and it has like a, you know, kind of streamlined handle. And maybe back in the day it looked pretty cool, but you know what? I mean, I personally got to say, I like the look of this one. It looks a lot more sleek, a lot more modern than this guy. I mean, it's kind of more squared off. And yeah, it still kind of looks like a puppy and stuff, but it has like a built-in handle that's like all black. I mean, this thing looks tough, man. This one, I mean, yeah, it's functional and stuff. And let's see, this has an Omega sticker on both sides. This only has an Omega sticker on one side, but not the other side. So I got it facing this direction for you guys. I guess beyond that, let's go ahead and get into some of these different parts, because for the most part, a lot of these parts are the same. So here's the pushers on both machines. I mean, if we look at the pushers, I mean, if we put them down the table here, I mean, it looks like they're basically both about the same pusherness. And if we compare them side by side, they're actually just about the same dimensions. I think that the NC1000 pusher is just like a tad bit bigger, so it's not exactly the same mold. It seems like it's a little bit bigger, just like running my fingers against it, but it's hardly anything, you know. Let's see if they're interchangeable. So this is the one from the NC800. This is the one from the NC1000. That'll go in there. This will go in there, and neither hits the augers, so they are interchangeable. That being said, I kind of like the pusher on the NC1000 a bit better. This one has like a long and flat, and when you put it in there, it's a little bit hard to kind of get your fingers in there and grab it out because it is so, you know, kind of wide here, and it goes into the feed chute there. Whereas this one is just a lot easier to grab the way it is designed. So they definitely improve the pusher for sure. All right. Next, let's go ahead and get into the juicing parts. I mean, the main juicers, they look pretty much identical, right? So I mean, these machines are very easy. There's not a lot of parts to clean, so let's take them off one at a time. So on the end of each juicer, you have an outlet adjusting knob. This one outlet adjusting knob goes from 0 to 5, so you can plug in it at 0, turn it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What this does, this puts further back pressure on the produce from coming out, so you get a drier pulp when it comes out. And so if you're juicing most vegetables, leafy greens, you're always going to want to put it on 5, and if you're juicing fruits that are backing up, and then you're going to want to, you know, jack it down to 1, and in some cases maybe even take it off. But most of the time I just keep it on 5, and if things are backing up, then I might loosen it a little bit as needed. Once again, on the NC1000, you still have that same system, but this one easily has numbers that you can see, and this one basically has like a kind of like a square block for 0, where you actually put it on. There's like a little tick here in this plastic. You put it on at the square 0, and you could turn it to the 1, 2, or 3. So while this only has 3 adjustments, there's a lot of space in between those adjustments. So you could put it on at 0, then you go to 0.5, and then you go to 1, then you go to 1.5, then you could go to 2, then you go to 2.5, and then you could go to 3. So I think you have just about the same amount of adjustments as this one. They are just not numbered. Also, I think that this one actually looks a lot nicer, and this is a little bit more of an easy grip to me. Just the way this kind of moves, it's like a little bit more smoother than this guy that seems a little bit more wobbly. So yes, I would say that this is definitely an upgraded piece, a lot more smooth and a lot more streamlined, and definitely an upgrade. All right, and then next we have, if we just take this piece off, this is what this piece looks like, this is what this piece looks like. And the thing they did was, in this one, they actually made kind of like the kind of track in this piece here, and in this side, you know, the track is kind of like in this piece here. So definitely an improvement. I mean, I'd say that makes it an improvement for sure. So this is a lot smoother in the adjustment for the pulp. Next we have the drum cap. This is known as the drum, the main juicing body. This is a cap that holds the auger in place. And if we take these guys apart, you know, wow, this guy's definitely a more heavy-duty part. It's like a little bit heavier. I would call this premium, you know, compare this part, which is a little bit lighter. You know, both these parts have like little gaskets in here, so you don't get any kind of seepage out of the connecting points. This gasket is black, which I like more than this gasket on the NC100 or 800, which is kind of yellow. But yeah, these parts pretty much do the same thing. And this has looks a little bit different on the inside, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. It actually has little like steps, and then this one is kind of like more smooth on the inside. Once again, this is a heavy duty part. Next, let's go ahead and take out the screens. This is where it really matters, and this is where we have some pretty significant differences, all right? So this is the screen on the NC1000, and this is the screen on the NC800. So you guys notice the difference? Yeah, so this one, these are both known as two-stage juicers. On the initial crush, juice comes out. It comes out this first stage here, and then the produce is worked down this little chamber here, and where it's ground up and crushed and juiced, and then the second stage, the juice comes out these little holes here, and same thing on this one. And so on this, the NC800, the first stage is all plastic. This probably reduced their costs to manufacture the screen. In addition, these holes actually are a little bit larger, you know, so there's actually less holes that are bigger, because if you made plastic holes too small, then the plastic kind of would get weak. Whereas on this one, you know, they went back to the original stainless. So this NC800 originally had a stainless here. Stainless here, they went to plastic, and that's how they're probably going to stay. And this one, they decided to go back to the metal stainless steel screen for the first and second stage. So I definitely like this more. And looking at this, there's a lot more screen holes and more screen area. So if I just compare these side by side, there's a lot more holes in here that juice has the ability to come out of. This may end up in a higher yield depending on what you're juicing, or it may not, all right? So I definitely like that a lot. And also these holes are smaller caliper, so they're smaller holes, which means there's going to be less pulp in your juice if things are coming out of this first stage, all right? Moving down the auger, or the juicing cone here, looks like there's a similar amount of kind of like little like steps or knurls in here, which actually help the produce get ground down, so you can't really compare that. And then both on the end caps, there's like a little gasket that's yellow, and this actually kind of keeps some back pressure on the produce. Let's see, just feeling these guys. I kind of like, I like the NC1000, the way they've done it. It seems a little bit more easier to clean. This one has a few like little ripples in it, and it's a little more straight, or like steps in it, so that's like a little bit harder to clean. So this is gonna be a little bit easier to clean. Not that this is that hard to clean, anyways. All right. Next, I do like on the NC1000 how they have these like little like plastic lines in here, which kind of like to me signify that it's like kind of like a little bit more reinforced. And I don't know if this helps or not. All the screens on the NC and even other horizontal juicers can have a tendency to break, and it is the most likely part to fail, in my personal opinion, and from what I have seen. And the reason why it's going to fail is if there's too much stress on the screen. So too much stress can be caused by feeding things too quickly into the machine, shoving in too much just because you can, even though the juicer cannot accept, that much at a time, because you need to like be nice on it. Otherwise, it may stress out the parts. If you have too much back pressure, if you're set to always number 5 and things are backing up and you're not adjusting it to a lower number, then things could back up. I'll put a link down below to how to use the Omega NC800, which will also apply to the NC1000. My tips so that you can prevent your screen from breaking if you follow my tips properly. All right, and then going on to the final stage here, if we put these down side by side, it's kind of hard to compare these guys. But basically, on this lower stage screen, or the second stage screen, it looks to me like there's basically a similar amount of screen area, although to me, it looks like the NC1000 has maybe a little bit bigger holes, so that's interesting. It's hard to see, it's almost like an optical illusion, staring at these screen holes too long. But so here's the thing, so like on the NC1000, the screen holes pretty much go from top to bottom, and on the NC800, there's a little bit of a frame around the holes. So it looks like to me there's actually definitely more screen holes. They may be a tad bit bigger, but it's hard for me to see. It looks like they're a tad bit bigger, but not much, right? So this may allow for more efficient juicing, but once again, we're going to have to wait for the test to see if it works out in real world, because I'm just surmising what may be possible. But otherwise, for all practical purposes, these screens have the same function, all right? Next, we're going to get down to the heart of the machines, which are the augers. And this is the GE Ultim augers on both machines, and we put them side by side on the table. Standing up, looks like the NC800 auger is a tad bit shorter, pretty much the same, but a tad bit shorter. Let's do it this direction, let's see. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter for sure. So what does that mean? That means that it may not get as much yield because it's not moving down as much, but that's a very small consideration because there's really not that much of a difference. For all practical purposes, these augers are very similar. I'm seeing like pretty much the same kind of shapes. They're a little bit different, so they're not exactly identical. This one's a bit thicker here on the little protruded pieces, and this one isn't, but for all practical purposes, these are basically the same, and I can't really determine which one is better or worse, other than the NC1000 being a tad, Jesus, 1/16 of an inch longer, which I don't think is going to make any significant difference, all right? Next, we're going to get down to the feed chutes here. And once again, this is where they're pretty much the same but different. If we look at those pieces, it looks pretty much the same. We could line these up. It's pretty much the same there. If we look at the tops, the feed chutes are pretty much identical. We could like put them up side by side. and it's hard for me to see, but basically, for all practical purposes, I'm going to say they're the same. Maybe they're like a fraction of a millimeter off or something, but basically they're the same size. What I will say is that both these funnels are non-removable, so they're fixed funnels. You cannot remove them. And also this funnel is black and this funnel is clear. So between these two, which one do I like better? Well, honestly, I definitely like the clear funnel. It's a lot more, you know, classy looking, a lot nicer looking than the funnel that's black. Also allows you to kind of see what's going on in the feed chute, whereas half of this funnel is black and you can only see what's going on in the bottom half. If we compare the size of the funnel, so number one, this funnel here is a little bit more deep, so it's deeper than the NC1000 funnel, which is more shallow. And if we put these up side by side, let's see here, the NC800 funnel is a tad bit longer, but it's also a tad bit more narrow. So I would say that the funnel overall dimensions are pretty much the same between both machines. This one happens to be a little bit more shorter and fatter, and this is a little bit more longer and more narrow, although this one is a little bit deeper. That being said, I don't really use a funnel a whole lot on the NC800 or NC1000, or have used it too much in the NC100 myself, although, and I would say the funnel sizes are appropriately sized. Let's see, looking inside these guys, I mean, pretty much, if I look inside this and look inside this, that's interesting. So, you know, there's a few more kind of edges on the inside of the NC800, like right here with like a little curve and angles. You know, now that's not really going to make a difference, but that's interesting. I definitely like that this seems like more of a streamlined part, kind of like more clean. I'm not exactly sure the detail on why they kind of made the extra angle in there. I mean, other than that, I mean, pretty much they look pretty much the same on the inside. And then let's see the spout on the bottom. If we line these up, I mean, pretty much they're the same size once again. And yeah, I can't really say much else. I mean, they pretty much have the same purpose. Few minor differences. I mean, the weight, I mean, they're about the same weight, so I can't even say anything about that, right? So now we get down to the motor. So the motor, if we pick up this motor and pick up this motor, I can magically say that these are the exact same weight. Well, not because I'm picking them up and weighing them, but because I have weighed them before this episode. And basically they're like 0.1 pounds different between them. And I forget if this one weighs more, that one weighs, but for all practical purposes, they're the same heavy-duty motor on both machines. That being said, the NC800 is rated at 150 watts, and the NC1000 is rated at 200 watts. So just because a 200-watt motor is 50 more watts, does it mean it's more powerful? Well, it may mean it's more powerful, but I know some of you guys are electrical engineers and know that wattage on motors don't necessarily convey the power or the torque of the motor. It just conveys how much, you know, power it's going to use. So definitely, if you're on like a solar system, probably better to get this one because it actually draws less watts, which is a good thing for a solar system. But if you want more power, maybe this one will be better. But here's the thing, you know, as long as these machines perform fine and don't clog or jam when you're juicing heavy things and don't stop, then I think they're sufficiently powered. So this is maybe like more efficient motor that, you know, just doesn't need the extra 200 watts to make things juice. And, you know, I could tell you honestly, I've rarely had any issues with this machine not performing up to spec. So maybe it is a more efficient motor than this guy at 200 watts. Now, what I will say is, of course, the shape of these guys, I like this one better. This one looks a lot better. And the other thing I noticed on this guy is on the bottom here, there's actually a reset button. So this is a reset button, so like should it like basically overload, jam the juicer, this thing will pop out. And then you can just basically press this button in to reset, much like a circuit breaker on your house, and be up and running again. And then over on this guy, there is no button to reset it. So if it blows, I know there is a thermal overload switch, so that the thermal overload switch blows, then it has to cool down. And then once it cools down, it basically resets the switch or the cutoff thing, and then it starts working again. But maybe if you've overloaded enough, it'll blow out that thermal overload switch, and then you can't get it back and running. Then you've got to send an Omega for repair. Whereas this one, you know, that's why they got that reset switch in there. If something happens wrong, it just blows it out, and then you push it back in, and you're up and running again. So I definitely like that feature on the NC1000 more for sure. All right. So now let's go ahead and reassemble these machines, show you guys how easy they are to reassemble. So we're going to reassemble the NC1000 first. We're going to put the drum on here. There's an open and close, and this is a little lever lock, open and close. Next, we're going to go ahead and place that auger. The auger goes all the way back in, and don't worry, when you seat the auger back in, there will be like a 1/4 inch space between the back of the housing and the auger. I get that question a lot. Next, you're going to take your juicing screen here. The screen part always goes face down, straight down. It's going to slide back in there. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the drum cap, put the drum cap on. It slides from open to close, and then we're going to put this piece, which actually has a lot nicer action and a lot easier to kind of grab and kind of turn, and I actually kind of like how that works a lot better. And then we're going to go ahead and assemble the NC800 pretty much the same way. Put it on open, slide this collar to close. We're going to take our auger, shove that all the way in till it seats. Take our juicing screen, once again, screen pointed down, slide it back in. Take our drum cap, put that in, assemble it down, and then put our outlet adjusting knob on, 0 to the arrow, and slide it on. Yeah, I mean, this one doesn't seem to be quite as smooth as the NC1000, of course. Then we can drop our pushers in. So I know a lot of you guys, John, are these machines backwards compatible? And Omega always hates when I do this, but I do this in my videos because I want to show you guys what's up. So let's go ahead and take this whole assembly off. Let's go ahead and take this whole assembly off. Let's go ahead and take the NC800 assembly, put it on the NC1000, and let's see if it fits. All right, that fits. Once again, we're going to put the NC1000 parts on the NC800 part, on the NC800 motor, and let's see if that fits. All right, uh-oh. This does not fit. Oh, wait, is it going in? All right, so it looks like it fits, but this collar does not close. So they made it just a little bit different, maybe a little bit thicker in here so that it's not backwards compatible. Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to work. So yeah, you cannot trade these parts. Maybe this guy would work on this, but I wouldn't. I mean, I like this setup anyways, but so yeah. So don't do it. And the other thing I will say is that I do not encourage you guys to use any of the NC1000 parts on the NC800 or vice versa. That will void your warranty. Although you could use the pusher, it does fit, but some of these other parts, while they look similar, are different. The auger is just a little bit different. The screens are definitely not interchangeable, and I would not use any of these other housing parts because it may, you know, mess up the tolerances and it will void your warranty, right? So I just showed you guys that. So yeah, not really. You can't take this housing, put it on that. Not compatible. All right. So aside from that is, I want to share with you guys where these machines are made. So, you know, this machine is made in South Korea at a factory that's making juicers for many, many, many years. And it's been made in South Korea for many years. So actually, I like that, and I feel confident in the build quality of this machine. The new NC100 is made in China. And what, red flags are going off in your mind? China, oh, I don't want to buy things from China. So don't worry, like in both these factories in South Korea and China, you know, it's Omega's strict quality control that they have in place to ensure you guys get a good working juicer every time. You know, I sell Omega juicers and I have very little issues with the horizontal juicer. I've had a few issues with the vertical juicers coming out as being defective, but basically I have very few issues with the horizontal juicers being defective. Usually, you know, you get them and they work, and they just basically just work until you break them. And they're very dependable units, and you know, that's what you're paying for. You're investing in a lifestyle, in a juicing lifestyle, and a way to basically take your fruits and vegetables and turn them into juice, so it makes it more easy, convenient, easier to digest, and in my opinion, better for your body than just eating the fruits or vegetables alone, especially when you're eating them like I do for breakfast, right? When we're just breaking our fast from sleeping. Okay? So next I want to go over some of the different parts and accessories that come with the machines. I guess first we'll go over the catch cups here. So these are the catch cups that you get with the Omega NC1000. You get a juice catch cup and a pulp catch cup. And then over on the NC800, you have a juice catch cup. Oh, that's interesting. Juice catch cup and a pulp catch cup. So, of course, you guys will each have your preference of what you like better. I mean, my preference is I like the Omega NC800 pulp catch cup better because it's clear. You know, I like the shape more, and I did test this by doing a water test where I basically filled this up with water and transferred it over to each one, and basically the NC800's catch cups were a little bit bigger. I'm not going to say they're super huge. I mean, like I think I put all the water that was up to the brim on this into this one, and there's still a little ledge. and I filled it up almost to the top, put it in here, and there's still a bit more room. But for all practical purposes, they're just about the same size, although this one is a tad bit bigger, not much bigger. Let's see if you can reverse these guys and use them on the other guy's machine. Alright, that doesn't fit exactly underneath. You can put this on here, and let's put this on here. Yeah, so you can reverse the catch cups. That's probably not going to avoid your warranty, guys. And honestly, in general, when I do catch my juice, I generally use glass pitchers or glass measuring cups, and actually I don't even use the plastic catch cups that are BPA free that comes with the juicers myself personally. Alright, so that's how those go. Oh, and I will say actually I do like the design better and functionality of the NC800 catch cups, because this is a lot easier with the little handle to pour, and this pours a little bit easier than this guy that does not really have a handle and has like a little integrated pour spout. Yeah, and then also same with this. I mean, I like that this has like an easy grab handle on there. And then this guy has like a handle on the end. Plus I like the clear color versus the, you know, the one that's not quite see-through. Although if you got kids, it's probably better to have the non-see-through ones so they can't see that you're making a green juice that you're going to feed them in about 5 minutes, alright? Okay, next up is we have a few other parts. So they both come with cleaning brushes, and these are the cleaning brushes, and to me these cleaning brushes, I mean, they pretty much look identical. I mean, they're barely any different. And these are the cleaning brushes you need to use right after you're done juicing. They have stiff nylon bristles. This is very important to clean the juicing screen inside and out and get all the pulp dislodged from all the holes right after you're done juicing. If you leave this and like go to work and come back, you know, the pulp could harden up in those holes, and they're really paying the you-know-what to get out, so wash them right after. Once again, if you can't clean this juicer, you know, right after you're done using it, you shouldn't be juicing. I mean, this thing takes me 80 seconds to clean. Might take you maybe 2 minutes, but I'm quick. Next is we got the homogenizing blank cone or the blank plate, whatever you want to call it. And for all practical purposes, these are the same piece. I do like on the NC1000, the pieces are kind of smoke, so you can kind of see through it to some extent, and on the NC800 they are totally black. But the stainless steel basically runs through the whole area where you are grinding on both of these guys, and both of these guys pretty much seem pretty much identical. Although I will say on the NC800, when I'm running my finger inside here, I feel a little bit more edge. It's a little more edgy, you know. So it may do a little bit better job in grinding things to a finer texture because it is more edgy, and I feel like a little edge that may help grind the produce better than on the NC1000. And then the only other difference is on the NC1000, and this is a feature I've been asking Omega for many years, is they include a sieve. So this is a straining sieve that actually you basically put on top of the catch cup here. So as the juice comes out of the juicer, it goes through the sieve into the catch cup. So this basically will take some of the extra pulp out of the juice if it is non-desired. On the NC800, you don't have such option. You have to get your own sieve to strain your juice additionally. You know, on some levels I like straining as it comes out, but on some other levels, sometimes I find this strainer, because there's not a lot of surface area on it, it can get clogged up really fast. So, I mean, personally I prefer to use additional strainers that you guys are going to see in a little bit. So the other thing I don't have shown is that the NC1000 comes with 6 pasta nozzles that you would use when you're basically extruding but not making pasta. You would have to make your own pasta dough. You put it through the machine, put your pasta nozzle on, and then you could basically extrude the pasta-like shapes. This could also be used for other things like, you know, making, I don't know, nut date candies, or dried fruit and nut candies, and or sorbets, to kind of have it come out in a special shape. And you got 6 different shapes with this one. And on the NC800, you only have 4. So I guess that is a premium upgrade right there. You got you know, 2 different additional nozzles and a little bit different shapes. Alright, so up till now, what do you guys think? Well, yeah, this is definitely a premium model. There's a few parts a little more heavier duty, a little bit nicer looking, a little bit more durable motor, definitely better look. I mean, on some levels, I like this, but, you know, also part of my heart is with this guy because I've owned him for so long, and I know he's tried and true. So the next step is, I know some of you guys are sound sensitive, so we got my decibel meter here. and we're going to go ahead and decibel test both these machines. We're going to measure how loud each of these juicers are to see if the new machine is quieter than the old machine, or vice versa. We're going to go ahead and take the pushers out, since the pushers may rattle in there and cause it to be excess loud. And the other thing I will mention is that I do not encourage you guys to run your juicers empty, for any significant amount of time other than turning it on and then putting produce in. It's not good for the juicer because the produce actually acts as a lubrication and can help quiet your juicer down, right? So do not do this at home, all right? I'm doing it for you, all right? So let's go ahead and turn this decibel meter on. And with me talking like super loud, it's like I'm peaking out at like 91, 92 decibels, all right? Now we're going to go ahead and put it in between the juicers. I'm going to be quiet and we're going to turn it on. Alright, so I basically peaked out at 63, and if I'm quiet, then it's at like 57. So let's go ahead and turn the NC800 on. And that peaked out at 70. So surely you guys could hear the sound difference. I mean, that one was a lot more kind of like a little bit more noisy, right? I don't know, a bunch of 7 decibels louder. This is like a lot more smoother and more quiet. Once again, a little bit louder. Now, once again, don't run these machines empty, because sometimes they make a little bit of extra noise when they're kind of clanking around, when they don't have the produce in there that actually will help quiet it down a little bit. So if you guys want a quieter machine, then you're going to want the premium model, and maybe that's why it's premium, because they basically kind of refined it, made it a little bit, but not much better in my opinion, and also have a premium price. So the next thing I want to do for you guys is actually real world test. Although this has some features I like, my heart is really still with the NC800. Let's go ahead and weigh out some produce. I'm going to be juicing basically tangerines, carrots, beet, and ginger today to see which one of these machines will actually make more yield. If either, maybe they're going to make the same exact amount. So I'm back, we're set up and ready to juice, and the first step is we're going to go ahead and do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. Alright, let's go ahead and do a weigh-in on the tangerines, carrots, beets, and ginger. Over on this side, Omega NC800 side, got 1218, and over on the NC1000 side, 1218. There's all our beautiful organic produce, and if we back up, you guys can see we got 1218 on both scales. That's 4 carrots, 4 tangerines, 2 pieces of beet, and 1 piece of ginger. So now that we got the weigh-in done, let's go ahead and move the scales out of the way, and let's get juicing. So I think first we're going to go ahead and juice in the all-new NC1000, since this is only the second time I've ever used it in my life. At this point, I will be using it a lot more, but I literally just got it. So let's go ahead and... So here's the thing, we got basically everything is already pre-cut. The carrots pretty much will just fit in the feed chute. The tangerines will have to be kind of like segmented out. I just peel them. You should not juice the skin of the oranges, the tangerines, or the grapefruits, although lemon and lime skins can be juiced in all. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and rotate the items soft to hard. And I think we'll just do this in real time because I don't think we have a lot of produce for you guys. So let's go ahead and make sure we're cranked down to the toughest setting. On this case it's number 3, and we're going to go ahead and get some of the tangerine here, and I like the little funnel there we could set these pieces on, so I got to probably cut this into like maybe thirds or quarters, just rip it apart. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on, and we're going to drop in maybe 2 pieces of tangerine, and then we're going to follow it and push it with a carrot. So out of that first stage you can see some of the initial juice coming out, some of the carrots coming, getting juiced. After it shoves off some of the carrot, we're going to go ahead and put a piece of tangerine in, push that in, let that go a little bit more, and drop it in. It kind of almost auto feeds on itself, which is kind of nice. Let's see if it auto feeds the rest of the way. Nope, it's getting kind of stuck. Help it down a little bit. We're going to go ahead and put a piece of that beet in, follow that by a tangerine. I always like to put like something firm, and then and then really watery. The tangerine really kind of helps to get all the juice from the beets kind of like diluted down and then into the catch cup. This looks like it's going really well, nice and quiet. Once again, take apart this tangerine, put a piece of that in there. I'm going to push it in with a carrot. I think we're going to juice a little bit of that carrot. We're going to follow that by our whole nub of ginger. Vertical juicers, you do need to pre-cut your ginger against the grain. On the horizontals, no pre-cutting is necessary, so I like that a lot. I'm going to go ahead and take off a third of that tangerine, push it in there, and follow that up with the carrot. Looks like the pulp's coming out. Fairly dry here. Can't really squeeze too much out, but we're going to go ahead and continue to juice. Once again, rotating in that tangerine, followed by that carrot. And once again, we're going to go ahead and set our next tangerine up in line in the funnel for us. Drop that tangerine in there, push that in, and we're going to go ahead and take that beet. Once again, we're rotating things nice and easily. We're not just loading the feed chute up with as much stuff as we can. We're putting one thing in, then kind of putting the next thing in, and not just trying to shove this, shove that. You know, we're letting the machine have some time to work, and I think this is quite essential. This is a heavy-duty, thick end of the carrot. This is probably the fattest carrot we got. This NC1000 Premium is tearing it up, man. No problem whatsoever. Using the carrot to push in the tangerine so that we don't have to use the pusher. Looks like it's working really nice. And now we're going to go ahead and use that pusher there. And now we're setting up our last tangerine to get juiced. I'm going to maybe tear this apart in quarters once again. Drop some of that in there. And once again, we're going to go ahead and push that in with our carrot. Now, you always want to end up by pushing in something like hard and firm on any slow juicer last. So in this case, tangerines are not hard and firm, they're too soft. You want to put the last item in, the carrot. So we're going to push the tangerines in, let some of the carrots get cut off, but we're going to make sure that we get all the tangerines run through the machine and the carrot put in absolutely last. And you can see we have some kind of like tangerine pulp spinning around in there. We're going to put a little bit of the carrot, let that carrot kind of run through and not just shove all the carrot in there at once. And let this machine work. Let this dump out some of the extra pulp in there. And we're going to let that feed in at its own pace, and looks like it auto-fed, something I really like a lot. Now, once you put the last produce item into any slow juicer, you want to let the juicer run a little bit more. It is still in the process of juicing. How will you know this? Well, if you're looking at the pulp ejection port where the pulp comes out, you know, pulp is still kind of moving through the machine and dropping into the collection bowl, which it looks like it's moving ever so slowly. I think it's about stopped. Then the juicer is still juicing, but once that stops, the juicer stops dripping, then you know you're done. So in this case, I think I'm pretty much done, and we're going to go ahead and turn that machine off. So that was a really nice time juicing in the Omega NC1000. Next, let's go ahead and move over to the Omega NC800, and let's go ahead and juice in that. So we're going to use the same collection bowl. I just like to use a glass. We got just a glass bowl here that I'm going to basically carefully scoop this pulp back so I'm not making extra dishes. I hate making extra dishes, and I always have so much to clean after one of these juice offs anyways. And we're set to number 5, and we're going to go ahead and put this over on this side and turn this baby on. And once again, same technique. We're going to go ahead and take that tangerine, quarter it, and maybe put in a quarter at a time. And then we're going to go ahead and follow it with the carrot. Now, this is the recipe that I'm using today because I happen to have this produce, and I think when I juiced with the NC1000, the first time I was juicing like some nice greens, I thought I used something a little bit different texture like these tangerines, which are really soft, and the carrots, which in my opinion should be one of your staples that you juice on a regular, but not always basis. I always want to encourage you guys to rotate the produce you're juicing based on the seasons, based on what you get at the farmer's market, based on what you can harvest in your garden, in your backyard, or even wild foods near you. This ensures you get a wide variety of different phytonutrients and phytochemicals, as much as, you know, you may like the mean green juice or the, you know, the lemon ginger blast, right? Please don't do those guys every day. Do yourselves a favor, you know, always switch things and rotate things up, all right? So we're going to go ahead and push some of that stuff in with the carrot. We're going to put a little bit of this tangerine through. Then once again, we're going to go ahead and follow that with the beet. And then after the beet, we're going to go ahead and put some more of that tangerine in there and push that guy in there. Working really nice. Pretty much uneventful in the NC800 as well. And I would encourage you guys, you know, if you guys are going to get into buying a juicer, please do it right the first time. Very important, right? Omega has been around now for 35 years. They're one of the oldest companies in the United States with US-based support. You know, if you buy an inexpensive cheap juicer, it may have a short 90-day, 1-year warranty and no US support. The support may be coming from China, and you probably won't be able to get parts for some of these cheap imported Chinese juicers from, you know, just random companies. You know, Omega is literally a legendary company in the United States. It's a legacy company, one of the legacy companies, and it's going to be here to support you after your sale for the next 15 years. Think about it, man. If you guys spend, you know, on a premium juicer, you spend your money once for the next 15 years, literally. Aside from that, you don't break the machine. You know, this machine will be covered under warranty, so that's one of the reasons why I like the Omega juicers. And once again, you know, I've been working with Omega basically for the last 20 years since I've been selling juicers myself. And their machines have only gotten better, in my opinion. Alright, man, we're getting down to this pretty fast. We're going to go ahead and put this last bit of this carrot in there. This is working pretty well. I mean, I can't really see any difference from juicing in the NC1000 versus this. I mean, it's pretty much the same process. Push the produce in. I mean, it's pretty much working the same way. I can't really tell the difference if this pulp is drier or that pulp is drier. Pretty much seems similar, but we will see when we get down to the yield. So I'm going to go ahead and put that ginger in there, put this carrot in there. And once again, I want you guys to rotate the produce as you're putting it through the machine. Very important. Put some more of that tangerine in there, followed by a couple of chops of carrots. And let's see, go ahead and put the rest of this tangerine in there to make sure that it gets juiced up, because we always want to put the carrot in last. Alright, so this is almost all the way to the top, almost full. I think now we're going to maybe have to use this pusher to push the rest of this in. Let's see if it's taking it. Yeah, we're going to have to push it. So, you know, when you push this in, don't just like manhandle it, push it down hard. You know, just kind of push it nice and gently. Give the machine some time to work. If you push things in too much or with too much force, once again, that may cause excess stress on your screen, which may cause screen breakage. Once again, we're letting this run a little bit longer until basically the pulp stops moving and ejecting out, which pretty much it looks like it has. And now we could turn off this machine. Alright, so let's go ahead and move this out of the way. So let's see, if we look at the pulps, I mean, if we compare this pulp and squeeze it, I'm not squeezing out any juice. You know, carrots aren't the best to juice in auger juicers, whether it's vertical or horizontal. They don't tend to grind the pulp as fine as, say, a twin gear, or even make as much yield as a centrifugal ejection, which is a high-speed machine, but they run at a low speed, so they're going to have a higher nutrition quality, which means more phytonutrients based on testing that I've seen. If we go over to this side, the NC1000, I mean, the pulp, I mean, I can't really compare the difference between these two pulps. I mean, I squeeze them and juice comes out of neither of them, all right? So that's a good thing. And the next step is we're going to go ahead and tip the juicers up. So I like to tip the juicer up like this direction and then back this direction to see if we get any more juice out. And it looks like we got a glob of more pulp coming out of that one. And this one, it looks like we got a little bit more juice coming out there and more juice coming out there. So always make sure you tip your juicers up. Otherwise, when you remove this, the juice catch cup, you're going to have lots of drips on the table. Now, this is one thing I want to point out that I also did see on the NC900 juicer. We're going to go ahead and take this out, and one of you guys was very perceptive when I did the original NC1000 video, and you guys pointed this out, so I appreciate that some of you guys point this out. Because this, to me, you know, concerns me a little bit. If you guys look at this housing here, you can see we put the pulp, we put the produce in here, and then it basically kind of runs into the screen. We have some what I would call pulp infiltration. So this infiltrated into the area of the on top of the juicing screen, so that actually it did not get juiced. I mean, this is not a lot, but this basically, what this tells me is that the tolerances are not as tight. They need to kind of like change the mold a little bit to make it a little bit tighter, so that there's not a big enough gap to allow ground up pulp to go through the top. When pulp goes up through the top, I mean, the only consequence is you're going to have a little bit less yield, and maybe it looks unsightly. And it's not like the German thing, and I'm half German, thing to do, whereas, you know, you have nice, precise fitting parts, right? I mean, if you guys build engines, right, you guys got to be within 1/1000th of a tolerance. And I would say the NC1000 does not meet that spec, all right? And some of you guys maybe got that joke. All right, so next let's go ahead and take off the NC800. Oops, and we got some juice dripping. And let's take a look at this one. So if we look at this one, looks like we had no pulp infiltration. Well, okay. We had a very little bit at the top, like hardly any at all. We definitely had some juice infiltration, but hey, that is acceptable. Juice is like liquid, man. It could get between any crack, and some of you guys have had, leaks in your house and you can't find where it is. You guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, this to me is acceptable, and to me, especially if this is a premium machine, they need to fix that, in my personal opinion, although the machine works as it is, and it's more just like a small thing. It's not going to really affect the juicer in any large amount, unless you're juicing a large quantity, because the more you juice, the more you put in through here, the more pulp infiltration you'll have, and the more yield you will be potentially losing, all right? So next, let's go ahead and take out my measuring cups here, and we're going to go ahead and also use a sieve so that we can determine if one juicer or the other actually put more pulp into the juice as it ran. So first we're going to go ahead and pour out the NC800 very carefully to make sure we don't drip anywhere. And we're going to shake it down and catch all that excess pulp. It's going to go through this sieve here. So I am using a coarse strainer today. I do have a coarse and a fine sieve. I think the sieve that I'm using today is approximately the same size sieve that you would get actually with the NC1000. Some produce will make more pulp into the juice than others. So, I purposely juice carrots because I know carrots, especially on vertical juicers, tend to make a lot more pulp than other produce. Beets also, because of their texture. Something like celery generally puts less pulp into the juice. And a citrus will put like a medium amount from my experience, all right? So we're pouring this all through, and we have a nice, really deep, rich, colorful juice today. I would encourage you guys to try to juice produce of color because then you'll have more phytonutrients and it's better for you. So like, if I just juice the tangerines with ginger and the carrots, I would have more of an orange juice, but because I added that beet, we got a nice red juice in there. So we're going to let that sift out and shake down. And once again, we're going to go ahead and take the juice from the NC1000 and pour that through the sieve here. All right, so I think we got all the juice out of that too. Let's go ahead and shake this baby down. Try and get all this pulp into like one pulp glob. All right, so if we look at this, this is very interesting. I think on initial straining, right, the NC1000 had more pulp in the collected juice than the NC800, but then after shaking it down, a lot of the finer pulp went through the sieve, which ended up in the juice, which then increased our juice yield. So then if I show you guys the little amount of pulp in each sieve, which is a little bit hard to show you guys because it's like rotating down into the sieve. What I'll tell you is this: there's more pulp in the NC1000 sieve than the NC800 sieve. Like, how much more? I mean, after straining, I mean, definitely we have a lot more like pulp like stuck in the sieve that didn't actually go through, and we have a little pulp patty. And on this side, there's not as much, pulp around the sieve. And then the pulp patty in the middle is, I don't know, maybe like 30% less. So it's not significant. Although, because of all the pulp in here, I definitely would say maybe it's maybe like 40% more pulp, right? Now, let's go ahead and compare the yields and give you guys a close-up of the... Go ahead and give you guys a close-up on the juice yield. So I guess we'll go to the NC1000 first, since this is the premium juicer, and you would think maybe because it is premium and newer, it may more yield, but let's take a close-up on that. And look, we're right at around 700 milliliters and a tad bit under. I wish this had better markings on it so we kind of know exactly. But I want you guys to kind of just realize and kind of remember where it's at. Just a little bit under 700. And if we kind of scooch over to the NC800 and see the markings, once again, there's 700 and it's a tad bit under 700. But you know, here's the thing. It's actually a little bit under 700, and if we go back over to the NC1000, it's a little bit more under the 700 mark. So I mean, while these are pretty much the same and they're evenly matched, I'd have to give the yield to the NC800 by literally a tad. Alright, so you guys just saw that the NC800 made like literally a line or two lines, a little bit more than the NC1000. The old tried and true NC800, but now I want to go ahead and taste test the juices, you know, because I did see more actually pulp caught in the sieve in the NC1000, and if I used a finer sieve, then maybe the yields will be even more significantly different, because this juice may contain more pulp in it than the NC800 juice does. So let's go ahead and taste it, and this is basically dependent on how well the machine grinds up into a small fibers and how well the screen is filtering those fibers out, and how much pulp infiltration is getting around the screen actually into the juice when it shouldn't, and also through the first stage screen. Alright, so let's go ahead and try this. Wow, that's gingery. So I am tasting small bits of particulate in the juice. I mean, it doesn't really bother me so much, and for all practical purposes, like, you don't need to strain your juice if you don't want to. On some levels, there's a benefit to having some of this additional insoluble fiber in your juice, and on some levels there isn't. So you gotta just, it's more like a personal preference. It's not better with or without. If you like it in there, hey, great, drink it, and if not, don't drink it. I would say that it's actually more efficient to just drink whatever comes out the juicer, so that you don't have to use any additional sieves that you have to clean later, so your cleanup will be faster. I mean, that's a good juice. Oh, and the other thing is, you could see when we poured it, there's a lot of like additional kind of like small bits of pulp that was there. Or maybe that's when I'm like shaking it down. Let's go ahead and try this. Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of pulp on there too. Maybe not as much. For me, I was more messy when I was sieving that down in there. Maybe because there was more pulp in the get-go. Anyways, let's go ahead and try the NC800 juice. Wow. I wish you guys were here to taste this. Definitely, as I had predicted, because of the way the sieves look, this has a lot more smaller particle size that actually came through the sieve that went into the juice. So if you like more pulp in your juice, then the NC1000 is for you. And if you're like me, actually, I prefer less pulp in my juice. You know, I like the juice, the NC800. Made a little better. I mean, these juicers are going to be pretty much the same to clean. They have the same amount of parts, pretty much the same design of the parts. So that's going to be pretty much a wash. So you can't even say, this is easier to clean than that. Don't even go there. They're pretty much the same. Although, you know, definitely less particulate in the juice through the coarse sieve. Now, if I use my fine sieve, this would be more telling, because my fine sieve will hold back all the pulp and I'll get a really clean juice. So let's see. So I guess you guys saw the whole demo. You saw the differences and pros and cons between the juicers. So what would you do? What juicer should you buy? Well, now I'm going to go ahead and share with you my recommendations on this. So, number one, I'm a very practical guy. So number one, if budget is your main concern, and everybody has a different concern, like to me, I want function and budget's important, then you're going to want to go with the NC800. Why? Because it's less expensive than the all-new NC1000, although it doesn't have some of the functionality of the pasta extrusion, because this has 2 more nozzles than that. For all practical purposes, you can do the same exact things in both machines, alright? Number two, if you're really into like design, and maybe you live in New York City, and I don't live in New York City, and I don't have a high-rise, and I don't even have the nicest, most stylish clothes, But if you are one of those people and style is very important to you, right? Dude, or girl, dudette, get the NC1000 because you know what? Honestly, I like the look of this one better than the NC800, which has more of a traditional look here, for sure. I mean, hands down, all right? The next one is if you guys like less pulp in the juice, right? Which one you're going to get? Well, you guys just heard me. If you guys like less pulp in the juice, especially if you don't want to sieve it, then get the NC800, although you'll have to provide your own sieve because it's not included, but it is included with the NC1000, you know. If you guys are more of a, I don't know, traditionalist and like things that are tried and true and proven and you're not an early adopter, then guess what juicer you should buy? The NC800 has been out for the last, you know, 7 years, since 2013 when it came out. It's tried and true, man. They got basically the bugs worked out, you know. And if you're an early adopter, then hey, go with the NC1000. You know, it's a brand new machine. Oh, and here's another thing, right? If you guys are scared about this machine being discontinued, because it's probably near the end of its life cycle, and you don't want to be discontinued, you want to be stuck out, right? Then get the NC1000 because it's a new machine and they're not going to discontinue this guy anytime soon. But this guy may be disappearing because it's getting near the end of its life cycle because it has been out so long and Omega has introduced a brand new machine. Let's see here. I mean, what other kind of comparisons can I say? I mean, basically the machines on both levels. Oh, I know. If you guys have solar power, right, and like more things that are efficient, then you're going to want to get the NC800 because it draws less watts, right? On the other hand, if you have a tendency to overload your machines and some of your different you know, machines have a reset button and they pop out frequently, then you're going to want to get the NC1000 because you got the reset button, and on the NC800 you don't. So kind of like that. And if you want maybe more power, maybe, and I'm not entirely sure on this because I got to do torque testing and I don't have the tool to do that. If you want more power, then get the NC1000 because it has a 200 watt motor and it may be more powerful than the 150 watt motor on the NC800. That being said, both these machines don't run direct drive from the motor shaft. They have gear reduction, which can change the output of the motor, and I'm not the super engineer, so I don't know exactly how that works, but basically both these machines, after torque reduction, they say, has equivalent of 2 horsepower output. So, you know, both these machines, in my opinion, are properly powered to basically grind through all the produce you're going to put through it. So for the next person that if like you're German, like I'm half German, and you know, you like things that are properly designed and properly tolerances and are built well, right? Then I'm going to go with the NC800 because it actually is made in South Korea and based on the pulp infiltration from this machine and that it's made in South Korea and been made for a long time. This one definitely has you know, tighter tolerances in my opinion. And in my personal opinion, also a better build quality. Now, likewise, you know, if you're somebody, John, man, I don't want to buy stuff from China because I don't agree what they're doing. They're sending viruses over here and they're doing this and that to us, right? Then, of course, you're going to want to get the NC800 because it is made in South Korea and not China. You know, now if you guys don't care, like here's the thing, right? You know, whether it's made in South Korea or China, you know, I don't really care where it's made. I just want the one that's better quality. And for me at this point in time, which one would I buy? I'd probably get the NC800, honestly. Or the best thing I would do, actually, which is what I could do right here, and you guys can't because you guys don't own both these. What I'm probably going to do is I like the motor, actually, on the NC1000. I think that's really a nice motor, more quiet. I'm going to take my NC800 parts and put it on my NC1000. And it runs fine. Wow! And it runs more quiet than on the NC800. So this is the ideal unit, the NC1000 motor with the NC800 parts that have finer tolerances and better quality, right? That being said, I probably should have said that because the guys at Omega right now are probably mad at me. But I tell it to you guys like it is, unfiltered, raw. And you know, that's what I do. I really do like the motor base. I do like the look on this. I really kind of like this clear housing on how that looks. This has more of a traditional look. I like the motor on that one, but I like the juicing part. So here's the thing. Omega, if you guys are watching this, listening, hey, if you guys can improve your screen, that's the only part you guys need to change. Improve your screen design so you have less pulp filtration and you have a, you know, more yield make the grinding a little bit better so that you put less pulp in the juice, because you could change that part and you could make this machine significantly better, then I'd probably be on board with going for the NC1000, and hopefully they will update it and make it better after this video to show you guys what's going on. But yeah, there you guys have it. Once again, pros and cons to each model. Which one is right for you? I mean, hopefully after watching this video, you guys know you'll be like, John, I like that one, or I like this one, and go for it, because no matter what, Omega backs up both these machines with their solid 15-year warranty. And of course, if you buy it through Discount Juicers, you're going to have me as your liaison to ensure that you guys get warranty service. Should your machine break due to no fault of your own, if you drop the auger or break it or stick a knife or fork in there, right? That's not covered under warranty, because that was your fault, all right? They're not covered in, things that are, user error, in my opinion. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys want to purchase the all-new Omega NC1000 or the Omega NC800, please check the link down below in the description. First link goes to our webpage for both these machines so that you guys could buy them directly from discountjuicers.com and support me so that I can continue to make these educational videos to show you guys my personal opinions on the machines, how they work, and some of the backstory that you may not hear anywhere else. Also, be sure to like this video. If you liked it, hey, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, share this video with somebody else that may be looking to buy an Omega juicer, so that they could be informed and aware of the juicers and their capabilities and the pros and cons of each model. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll share what you'll be learning or what new juicers I'll be comparing on my YouTube channel. Also, make sure to click the little bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. I got some new vacuum blenders that I'll be testing here fairly shortly, and some other really cool products that's going to be coming out real soon. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge, over 500 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel, dedicated to teaching you guys all about juicers and the best juicer to buy, as well as comparing and contrasting all the major brand juicers in the market so that you guys get the right one for you the first time. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.